song that you heard so many times, and every time you hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song, but then you start catching a vibe? I'm sorry, not sorry. Yeah. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, whoa. East Coast with that gang, gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way.
Well, what's going on, you boosh?
Right up in your face.
What's going on, everyone? Make sure you drop your questions, not your questions, your comments. Say what's up, say what's up. What's up, beeshes? What's going on, you beesh? What up, you boosh? What's up, you crazy little beeshes? You crazy little beeshes. How am I coming through? We looking good? We looking pretty? We looking sexy? Sexy? Alrighty. Happy weekend, beaches. How do I sound? How's the audio? Looking good? Are we sitting pretty?
Always in prime, always on time, our time to shine. Wifey is fine, I'm doing fine. Glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you were all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack.
I sounds titties. No, I sound titties. Oh, you shouldn't have. You're so sweet. You say the sweetest things. Oh, yes, you do. Sick fucking gains. I'm making sick fucking gains. I'm making sick fucking gains every motherfucking day. Every motherfucking day. Every motherfucking day. Oh, well. Testing. Testing, testicles. Testicles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 1065 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gaincast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and the slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What is going on? Yas beaches. I like that. I like the yas beaches. What's going on, yas beaches? Hello, yas beaches. What's going on? How are we doing? Hello, Amanda, Bobby, Sean, Meredith, Chris, Ashley, Jennifer, Joseph, Meredith, Alberto, Holly, over there on Facebook. What's up, IG? What up? The IG Boosh. What up, IG Booshes? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Paso. What is the dealy yo? I got a little dust in here. Yeah. Yes. Good mic. Sound is on point, as always. Just checking, just playing with some features. I'm changing some of the wiring. I think I was getting some interference. I'm always trying to, when you get so much stuff going on, and this is this is as professional as a setup as any, I'm sure. But, you do what you can when you got tons of signals going on. I'm just trying to make sure the audio is good. So I try things, because if I don't like it, if it's not up to my standards, I'm not happy. If Papa Swolio's not happy, then no one's happy. If I'm not happy, no one's happy, and I gotta be happy. I gotta feel good about what's going on. Swolga going on today. Good for you. What are you training today? What are you doing? I may or may not go and do like a total. I am sore as shit. My workouts look, everyone, my workout, I'm feeling really good, and I'm doing things that I haven't done in a long time. And we've been talking about this. We've been talking about this on the Audio Experience podcast too. I've been talking about it here when it comes to frequency and volume, and that's why it's been in the conversation a lot, because I'm changing a bunch of things of how I've been training for the past 10, 15, 20 years. So what I'm doing lately, I'm just mixing it up. I'm going really intense, but I'm going really short in terms of volume. I feel good. I'm getting really sore. I'm really, ugh. Am I getting old? No. Impossible. Fucking possible. Not getting old. Never getting old. I want to be a Toys R Us kid forever. I'm never getting old. I'm never aging out. Well, we all get older. I guess how you feel if you're old. I think you could be old at 25 if you're banged up. If you're really fucking destroyed and you just beat your body up and you don't take care of it, you can be a 65-year-old man when you're 25. You can be really, really old. You can act old. You can feel old. You can look old if you don't take care of yourself. So age, biological age and chronological age are different. You can be 65 by how many suns, how many moons you've seen, or you can be 65 because you just trash your body when you're younger. So you can be 65 and act like you're 30. You can really have a lot of energy. You could be very vibrant, which I think is the key when it comes to your nutrition. And that's where, okay, when you're younger, you can get away with things. We like to talk about that. And I'm in between. I'm not like young. I'm not a teenager, but I'm not old. I'm not 70 or 80 years old. And a lot of you that are watching, listening, you're in the middle. You're in the mix. You're in your 25, 30 to 60, 70, like you're in the middle. I mean, I am going that far. When I go all the way to, I'm saying till 70. So you might think that's old. I don't think that's old. I don't think 60 and 70, I don't think that's old. I think it's old if you don't take care of your body, because then your body is just getting worn down. You're not adding into it. And it's kind of like you need to be inspired yourself. So a lot of you ask me how I stay motivated, how I stay inspired, how I stay doing what I do all the time. I don't give myself any options, but I need to feed myself. I need to listen to some podcasts. I need to listen to some good music. I need to read a book or watch a good video that gets me going. And, it doesn't happen all the time. I feed myself. I can generate a lot of it myself, but you have to find what turns you on. You have to find what keeps you going, whatever system that is. Obviously, for most of you, it's listening to the Daily Swole. It's checking out these podcasts and hearing what I have to say. And, we have that discussion, and we're very transparent about that this is very inspirational to thousands and thousands of people. And you know that I'm going to be here every day. And that gets you going in itself. Even if you're not here and you can't catch an episode and you can't listen to it for a week, for example, you know that I did it. You know that I'm here. And that also in turn inspires me. So you have to feed yourself. You have to find what gets you going. You have to find what keeps you going. And then you have to make sure that you recognize that, and then you keep that faucet on. You keep the juice flowing. So once you have that, and once you recognize what that is, you just need to keep your finger on the pulse. You have to make sure you keep an eye on that and use that for your advantage. So it's great when I get feedback, when I see a great review, when someone tells me, oh, that episode, whatever it was amazing, and it really changed my outlook on things, and I've lost 30 pounds since I've been listening to you for the past couple months. That's great. That gets me going. That gives me that little bump. It kind of pinches my nips a little bit. It gives me a little like, fuck yeah, we're doing something right. Because sometimes you get inside your own head. You get inside your own head with training. You get inside your own head with your routine. You get inside your own head because guess what? Shocker, you are inside your own head. You're always inside your head. You're always up in here. So your perspective is always your perspective. That's where meditation helps. It helps give you kind of an outside perspective on yourself. It kind of puts you into the third person, takes you away from your driver's seat, and kind of gives you a little bit of a different vantage point, which we lose. Honestly, we lose that. We lose that oftentimes. We lose that because it's like being in a relationship and someone else is saying how you're fucking in a terrible relationship. You need to break up with him or her. You need to get out now. And you're like, oh, it's not so bad. They're not always like this. Sometimes it's good. Oh, it's just recently, this, that, and the other. And when you get out of that relationship, you look back at what the fuck was I thinking? What was I thinking? Why was I being such a jabroni for all that time? This person was terrible for me and everyone was giving me good advice and I didn't want to hear it because you're in the driver's seat. You don't have that perspective. You can't, you just don't have any, you don't have the perspective. And when you're young, you can't have the perspective of being old unless you spend a lot of time around older people. And fortunately for me, I spent lots of time around my grandparents before they passed. I spent lots of time training elderly people, so I know what, from a health standpoint, I know what it's like from a psychological standpoint because I've just been around it. I've heard the words. I've seen the immobility and I've seen the lack of strength. I've seen the lack of exercise and activity. I've seen it. I seen it. I seen it. I seen that shit. I seen that shit. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And once you've experienced that firsthand, it gives you that different perspective. And no, I am not 80 years old, but I know what it's like to be 80 because I've seen it. I've been around it a lot. I know what 80-year-olds can do in terms of physical prowess or lack thereof. I know what potentially can happen if I don't take care of my body. And I don't think that people look at older people that way. You can learn. You don't have to be in school to learn. You don't have to have grandparents that are alive to learn from elderly people. Watch. Look at what they do. Look at what they can't do. When you see someone in a wheelchair, use that as inspiration. You know, it doesn't mean you can't have empathy for other people, but it means that you need to look at that and be like, fuck that shit. That is not going to be me. Okay. It's not like you're getting into a car accident and you don't have a choice and it's the shit draw of the stick and it's your fate and or whatever you want to call it, your destiny. It's just out of your control. Let's be honest. You are going to have control over most of these issues, potential issues. You have control over whether or not you get type 2 diabetes. You have control in many cases over your level or your exposure or your risk of heart disease, of metabolic syndrome, of being morbidly obese. You have control much more often than you don't. Okay? Much more often than you don't. Now, any single person can come in here and say, well, I have this condition. I have this condition. A lot of times it's the chicken or the egg. You have a thyroid condition. Okay, I understand. That's going to affect your metabolism. But do you have a thyroid condition because it's just what you were born with? Or because you were trashing your body when you were younger and exposed to a lot of toxins and eating, and then you were just more susceptible to having thyroid damage because of your past? I don't know. I'm just talking from a general example, but you have to recognize the fact that there are a lot of variables that we can't always track, and that it's not always easy to just pass off responsibility. Oh, well, I have a genetic thing. Well, we don't know that. It's hard to prove that. We're just getting to the surface of figuring out genetics and what you're predisposed to. And a lot of those things with genetics that people like to just blame it on, okay, this is just hereditary. Some of those things aren't guaranteed. Just because you have a disease that may be linked to something hereditary doesn't mean you would have gotten it if you made better choices. Sometimes these changes in our genetic structure just makes us more susceptible or just more at risk, and we have to pay attention. Doesn't mean that we're going to get those issues. Doesn't mean we're going to have those diseases. Doesn't mean we're going to absolutely have that problem. We don't know for sure. We just have to maybe be a little bit more proactive in preventing it and paying attention to those things. So I'm not saying that some people don't have issues. I know that. But I want to stress for all of you that are in the driver's seat that have control over what your outcome is. You have control over these things. And it's very easy just to say, oh, I don't have control. If it happens, it happens. You only live once. And, you know, it's not that simple. And it is that simple. It's not that simple and it is that simple. It's both. Life is complicated. Life can be confusing. But if we focus more on what is the simplest thing that we can, the simplest explanation. The simplest explanation is what you do in your life is going to lead to your outcome. That's the simplest way to look at it. That's the best way to focus on it. If you are making better decisions, you are likely to have a better outcome. And this is just common sense, I know. And common sense isn't common. We all know that. If you make better decisions, you are putting yourself in a better position to have good outcomes. If you make worse decisions, you are putting yourself in a worse position to have good outcomes. You're less likely to have a good outcome if you're making bad decisions. Are we agreed? So the amount of work you put in, the time you put in, and this episode is work and time. Work and time. How many different ways can you break down and can you split and can you approach work and time? That concept of work, effort, training, meal prepping, elimination, going to the gym, driving, laying out your clothes, getting up early, whatever, all those things that go into the work, the effort, and then the time, the patience. How long does it take to put on muscle? A week? No. How long does it take to lose fat? A week? Maybe a little bit, maybe a pound if you're lucky. If you work hard consistently, maybe less. Maybe 1 week you lose 2 pounds. Maybe you lose no pounds. Time, patience, effort is one thing. Effort is one thing. What about the time that effort is being implemented? It's not just effort. You can work hard for a day. You can work hard for a week. What about working hard for years? And I'm not talking about, oh, I work hard, I'm a trucker or I work labor. Like, I get it. I get these questions all the time, and I'm not trying to be empathetic because a lot of you will look at me, well, it's easy for you to say you have time to work out. Yeah, because I create the time. Now I have more time potentially. It's funny because I technically have more time to train now than I ever have in my life. And I'm actually training less now than I ever have in my life. I have more time from the surface to train, and I'm training less than I ever have in my life. So, of course, this is relative to the past, but now I'm training less because I'm putting all my time, my resources, my energy into creating content, doing podcasts, editing videos. And I keep on trying to bring it back and say, okay, I need to focus on my own health too, which I do. But there's that balance that I'm trying to still create and find out because it goes day to day. Sometimes I have more shit I need to do and I can't focus on my I can't go to the gym, or I can't go until later. I have to do a quick workout. I have to adjust it. So that's where I am being very transparent when I talk about my own training protocols now, and that I talk about different seasons. This season that I'm in, my current mind state and life state is conducive to the type of training I'm doing now. What is not conducive is doing a classic bodybuilding split for 5-6 days. That is not conducive to the effort that I'm putting in the gym. That's not conducive to my time availability, in which I want to obviously overload it towards the business aspect, towards the content creation aspect. And that is going to relate to my outcome. The amount of work that I'm putting in and the time per day, per week, whatever cycle, and how long. Don't forget, we always have to come down to the patience. Again, you're not going to build muscle and lose fat in a week. It's going to come over weeks and weeks, and stacking them like Legos, one after the other. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. And you're not going to make consistent progress every single week. It's exposing yourself, and it is being consistent and patient over the course of months and years and decades. And you're going to have to go through all that. I don't care if you can get great results in 90 days or 120 days or a year. Great. Then you're working to maintain it, to improve. There's something else that you want. You're going to start getting older. You might suffer from some kind of like overuse injury. Then you have to work on that and adjust, and then try to hold on and get back what you had before and change what exercise, because now this one bothers you, or you move to a different area and now your gym has different equipment and there's different hours. You have to change your schedule. It's always this kind of struggle, push, pull, like adjusting no matter where you are. Even if you have a good schedule now, something in your life might change and that schedule is going to be trash or impossible to achieve. That is why I'm always talking about being dynamic. That's why I'm always talking about personalization. You have to have the ability to personalize your fitness. You have to have the mindset that your fitness, your life is yours. It's no one else's. This is why all the training, all the programming, all the stuff in the program vault. Those of you that are Swolenormous X members, those of you that are part of my private training platform, you know you can customize. You can add in more mobility. You can add in more resistance, more active recovery. You can choose different programming weeks. You have to be able to change things on the fly and still be consistent and still keep that right mindset. You can't miss one day and be like, oh, fuck, I screwed up. Everything's off. Now I ruined my workout. I ruined all my progress. Now I'm not going to get results, blah, blah, blah. That's not how this works. It's not like a snap of a finger. You miss a day and it's over. But a lot of things are so rigid and people put themselves into such a fucking box that if you go off that bullseye just a little bit, that all of a sudden all bets are off and you feel like a failure. You feel like you are not going to get any change. You fell short. You didn't achieve your goal. You didn't make it happen. And then that wears away at you from the inside and you start falling off. You start cheating more. You start paying more attention to other things rather than your fitness. And you're not always going to see the most physical change. You're not always going to feel amazing. You're not always going to feel physically amazing, psychologically amazing. You're going to have those ups and downs. You're going to have those days where like, oh, everything sucks. And then the next day, everything is great. And it's not being bipolar. It's just your mood. You're going to go. That's why you need to just observe from the outside. The more discipline and the more consistency that you can implement into your life, into your training, the more consistent, the more even keel you can make it, you'll be able to weather those storms, those daily storms, or those momentary 2-hour fucking low points. You'll be able to catch yourself and pull yourself back up and bring yourself back to that balance point. And that's the real challenge. That's the real struggle. And most people will try to force and go against the grain. And no matter how much their life is pulling the opposite direction, they're going to strain themselves and really push, and they'll be grinding against what everything is telling them, right? Their schedule, they're still trying to maybe stick to a 6-day-a-week resistance training schedule when they just can't make it to the gym. So they're doubling up and doing 2-a-days because they have to get that done. And they're working against the grain rather than absorbing it. And that's like that famous Bruce Lee quote, right? Be like water, flow over the rock, go around it, go through the cracks, like just be dynamic and be able to change. You don't have a lot of time this week, then boom, you're doing total body workouts for 2 or 3 days. You're going to drop the volume, you're increasing the frequency, you're going to hit it, you'll get some nice recovery, you'll get some good strength, boom, and you'll get back to it the next week. Done. You bob and weave, right? You go around the resistance. You don't always have to go through it. Now, it doesn't mean you never challenge yourself. It doesn't mean you never try to work hard. You just avoid it and just do something else. That's not what I'm saying either. But you have to be able to recognize what things are coming in your way, what things set you off, right? What challenges specifically for you, whether it's you as a person, your personality, what things tend to set you off? What things tend to push you off the tracks, right? What are those things that get in your way? What are those things? Identify, is it going out to eat and then you just you have no self-control? Then guess what? Don't fucking go out to eat. If that always throws you off and you can't control the cravings that are bullshit because you're still not doing your nutrition right, if you can't control that shit, then don't go out to eat. Stuff your face with good food first, or don't go, period. If you know that's going to lead to a lot of misery over the next couple weeks and that's going to set you back, then you have to make the decision, do I really want what I say I want? And if you do, then you need to avoid those situations or to fix it. You need to change your actions to change the outcome. And as much as common sense, and these things are not, this is not rocket science. These are just basic concepts. And again, we have to come back to these basic concepts because people don't have control over them. We're so worried about what supplement. The questions I get for Ask Papa Swolio and for the Sunday Funday Q&A, we'll talk about all of them. We're going to do the Sunday Funday Q&A tomorrow. What are the best supplements? What's this? A lot of these things are details, whereas the foundation, the fundamentals are still not locked down. So you're asking questions that don't even need to be asked. Like, it's not important. If you focused on those basics better, you'd already have those results and you wouldn't need this question. You wouldn't even think to ask. Everything takes, right? Preparation is very, very key. Preparation, but it's not just preparation, because you can prepare for what you expect. You can plan for something. Okay, I'm going to do A, B, and C. I'm going to plan for that. However, you prepare for that and all of a sudden D, E, and F happen. Do you have, and I'm not saying have a plan B because I don't believe in, oh, what am I going to do instead? Well, then you're not putting enough time into your plan A. However, you need to be able to adjust. You don't need a plan B. Just take your plan A and fucking, make it work. But you have to understand how you work as an individual. You have to understand what your weak points are, what your strengths are, I don't want to say how to manipulate yourself. I don't want to say how to manipulate yourself, but how to inspire yourself, how to keep yourself focused. And what keeps you on track is going to be different than what keeps me on track. What keeps you inspired is going to be different than what keeps me inspired. And that's okay. You have to recognize that, and you can't be afraid to be yourself. You can't be afraid to be inspired or to have a certain routine or a program or something that gets you what you need to get your results. You can't compare that with anyone else. It's very easy to compare and be like, oh, well, he does this way. I should do it that way because he does it and he has results, so I'm going to do it that way. That may or may not work for you. It also might not at all. It may work. It can give you some ideas. You might try and be like, oh, well, if I do that and I tweak it a little bit, okay, it's better if I do, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. It comes down to the fact that you only have your health. Without it, you have nothing. You can say you're busy and focused at work, but it'll get to a point where work is all you have. You'll lose yourself and those around you. There was a question that was asked to me. I forget if it was asked Papa Swole. It was or was it a DM? I forget, but this gentleman, and he wants to train, he wants to lift, and he's like, well, I'm in the truck. Right? He does like team driving. So he's in the truck for like 6 days straight. He's like, and we only like, we're loading up the truck and then we're only stopping to refuel. Like they're just, team driving, they're just fucking one's resting, one's driving, one's resting, one's driving. So he barely has any time to work out. And it's like, well, I know you're probably making good money. However, all that money that you're making is going to go towards medical bills when you're fucked up in the future. Like you're not helping yourself. And it's hard because you have to work. People have to work to make a living. You have to work to make money, to pay for food and rent and just stuff in life. However, are you working so hard? You're making all this great money. Oh, awesome. You're just going to use it for your health insurance. You're going to pay for all those painkillers when you have chronic back pain from sitting down all the time. Unless you take a proactive approach and for every 10, 15 minutes that you have outside, you got to do some exercise. I mean, that's the reality of it. You're going to have problems, severe health problems in the next 30 years if you keep on doing that. So you're making money. You're making money. And I've done this too. My friend and I, Jeb, he's still in town. We used to work 17-hour days and I was barely working out. I was still doing my best, but you're wiped out. You don't have time to think about anything else. You don't have time to even breathe. You're making good money, but you can't even enjoy it. You're not alive. You're just whittling away on your health, and it's not a good outcome. It doesn't end well. And not a lot of people get that perspective and are able to get out of it. They get stuck in that rut forever. They get stuck in that fucking rut forever. And it's hard to take less money. It's hard to give yourself more time. But once you understand what it's like, it's similar to getting good sleep. How many of you get really good sleep? And how many of you have gone from bad sleep? And I'll just give you my example. But when you go from, let's say, not sleeping well in terms of going to sleep late, like for me, when I start going to sleep early and I really get on a good routine, getting up first thing in the morning, getting my workout in early, like I feel so amazing. I feel so accomplished. I feel so positive the entire day. Even if I get the same amount done, if I'm up super late, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I get up at 10 or 11, kind of groggy, but I get the same hours. Let's say I get the same hours. I will feel groggy when I do the late night. And of course, you can get used to it. And a lot of times I'll have to be up late because I'm doing a lot of this stuff myself and I'm in front of all these screens and I just have to get certain things done. But when I prioritize getting to sleep, getting up early, and I prioritize that, it's a game changer. It's completely different. The perspective changes. And then all of a sudden, once I'm on that early morning schedule, and then all of a sudden I get that one night, right? So let's say I'm getting to sleep early, getting up early, that one night that in the past, let's say one night I'm up till 3. In the past, oh, you just get used to it, right? You adapt. It's normal. Oh, I'm up late. It's cool. You're kind of in this haze, but you don't realize it because you're adapted. When you're on a good sleep schedule and you have that one night when you're up till 3, you feel like you got hit by a bus then run over by a horse, and then you just got like tarred and feathered and dragged through the streets. You feel like you got absolutely laid the fuck out. And the first time I ever felt that contrast, because going through college and then after, and you just always in that, you get into that late night routine. Blue lights at night, computers, cell phones, right? Just all the stimulation late at night and all the shows, right? Like fucking Game of Thrones comes on at 9 on Sunday. It's like, great, 9 to 10, you're gonna be all jacked up and then trying to go to sleep afterwards, or you're watching it at 10 o'clock at night after it airs or whatever. But all these shows and everything just air later and later and later, and you just burn the candle, and you're getting up at 6 or 5. They're getting 6 hours of sleep and 5 hours of sleep, and maybe your body needs 7, but you're getting 6. So every night you're just missing an hour, and it whittles away at your health over years and years and years. Just the contrast is ridiculous. If you sleep well, you realize that, oh, when I sleep well, you get leaner because you reabsorb stress hormones. You're going to store less body fat and water. You will lose weight if you sleep better. More often than not, you will lose weight because you have less inflammation. Your body will be able to repair. It's better for your endocrine system. You want to lose weight? You have stubborn areas of body fat. You focus on your sleep more. Do whatever it takes to get better, more quality sleep, regular sleep. You're going to see a lot of health benefits. Not only that, you'll have more energy. What can you do with more energy? You can work out better. You can work out more consistently. Less likely of getting sick. You know, I mean, everything. That's how your body repairs. Everyone's asking about hydration. I mean, not hydration. Everyone's asking about supplements to help me build muscle. Sleep. Most people, I would say probably over 95% of people are chronically sleep deprived, or they're not getting quality sleep, which is sleep deprivation. Just because you sleep 8 hours and you're waking up every 2 hours, that's not quality sleep. So very few people actually get true quality sleep. And if you are not sleeping, it's going to fuck you up. And most people just don't understand that, how restorative and how important sleep is for muscle growth, for recovery. Sleeping is literally your body's number one way of repairing itself when you're sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, you are just destroying yourself. You're destroying your body. You're destroying your health. Damn, we're talking sleep. I didn't sleep nearly long enough the day before yesterday, 5 hours. And 5 hours, and it seriously fucked me up for sure. Especially when you get regular sleep, having one night off will throw you off for a few. And you don't realize that contrast until you expose yourself to that, unfortunately, and it happens. Amanda, a family member, went from the army to truck driving. He drove for so long that he developed issues walking. Doctor told him if he didn't quit his job, start moving around, he'd pretty much become crippled. Fucking hell. Well, you're locked in a position all the time. I don't like driving a car for a few minutes, let alone hours every day. Every day. People just jack themselves up with that. Sex before bed or rub one out. Yeah, sauna before bed. I like going to the sauna at night. There's so many ways to help yourself sleep better. Meditation, reading, candlelight, turn off all those lights, light a candle and shit. Sound machines are great. Turn a fan on. I like some droning noise. I just like noise consistency. I don't like changes in noise. As long as it's consistent, I like it. If you don't have a sound machine, you can download just like some rain or some white noise app. They have a lot of sleeping apps on your phone you can do. So, yeah. Great time to talk about sleep is on a Saturday, when everyone's off and no one's paying attention about sleep. Anyway, important stuff, man. And women, man. Doing yoga at night, meditation at night. You can download one of those meditation apps. There's just so many opportunities for you to focus on those basics more. So the work, just to wrap this up, the work and the time. Your effort, your hard work, and your exposure to that hard work over the course of time. All right. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. So I don't care how hard you're working now. Are you going to be doing that in 5 years? Because what, do you want to be in shape for a year? You think you're just going to get results and then it's just going to stay? No, you're going to work even harder to keep them. You're going to work even harder to keep those results. That's why those fundamental habits of sleep, nutrition, hydration, consistent exercise, adapting to your surroundings and to your environment, to your schedule. That's why those are key towards long-term success. All right. Tomorrow, we are going to do the Sunday Funday Q&A, and I want to take a lot of live questions. So if you have not yet asked your question to be featured tomorrow for the Sunday Funday Q&A, drop your comments, your questions in the comments below the post on Instagram or on my Facebook feed. You'll see it. It says Sunday Funday Q&A. Just drop your question there, and I'll get to as many as I can, but I also want to take a ton of live questions. So turn on your post notifications on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, wherever you watch the Daily Swole, and I will be smashing some Q&A tomorrow. And there also was a brand new Ask Papa Swolio episode up on YouTube already, and I'm posting some stuff in my Instagram feed, some one-off questions here and there. So doing some fun stuff everywhere. So make sure to drop a comment if you like what I'm putting out. Make sure you comment, send me a DM, send me a message. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to help you out if I can. And remember to go check out swolenormousx.com if you have any questions, want to check out the blog, check out memberships. And special thanks always to Daily Swole Club members, those of you that are supporting the podcast. Thank you very, very, very much. And you can learn all about the subscriptions to the podcast, the blog, and memberships and everything over at swolenormousx.com. Tomorrow, Sunday Funday Q&A, episode 1066. Be there or be skinny, tiny, and miserable. You have to be there. Whatever results you have right now, whether you're losing weight or building muscle, if you don't show up tomorrow, all your results are going to just disappear. So I highly recommend that you show up tomorrow. Otherwise, you lose all your progress, and I don't want that to happen. I'm doing you a favor. I don't want that to happen. So make sure you show up tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. 1066. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce, Magoose. Ya boy, Papa Swolio. Out.